dasi bebre. Me sure say mo mother body statement om dia babontini mo hu bi. Omo say Ebonada omo hwani mu say members of UTAG ebehia na mo ahebe bia mo de ESA strike ekwe. As silent majority, you've been asking UTAG to rescind their decision say omo koso ESA strike. How do you react to statement om dia babontini?
Yes. First of all, let me catch up into
yeah, the best frafra, right?
So first of all, my was to say my friends reacted to issues, you know, and then secondly, I want to put this in this proper perspective that all say press conference and my more pleasure be seen or last week call meeting be more issue directly say they are all looking at the government to engage them and all those things. We want to let our listeners and everybody know that government hasn't given them that kind of attention, and so therefore we describe the strike as having reached a stalemate, and therefore they do not really have an option but to call off the strike. And so it is not surprising that today meeting are calling off strike say they are suspending the strike based on decisions that have been taken at NEC and all those things. But you know, UTAG confusion, no. Say, call strike now. They call it off strike. You have to go back to the local branches to seek, a response from the branches whether or not they agree to call off the strike or not. By Tuesday, voting no. Monday, Tuesday, voting no. Then they will come out clearly to communicate to everybody that strike no or call it off strike. But they will have to succumb to the pressure that we have given them. And we, silent majority of UTAG, we are happy about the decision and we await the declaration finally of this strike to be called off. Because as it stands now, in the strike that they called, they asked government to, to revoke and place a ban on mining in forest areas and all those places. But as it stands now, nothing of that sort has been done. And we all know what is happening. Parliament House, people are marching and making merry of all of those nonsense and all that kind of thing. And so therefore, UTAG has no option but to call off the strike as it stands now. And so we, the silent majority, we are excited about it, and we will urge our members to go out there and vote against any kind of decision to withhold the strike and all that. That will be as I say, they have given us a listening ear and therefore have gone forward to call off the strike.
Ususu say more silent majority no more pressure na de mababidu sam pempensoi.
It's exactly so. So because your press conference, we followed it up with Vice Chancellor Ghana. We petitioned them and asked them to put pressure on UTAG NEC to call off the strike. And so therefore, there have been background negotiations and talking, and the pressure mounted on them. So they have no option. That was strike, no. And in any case, many of the universities have already reopened and ongoing with academic exercise. Legon, Ankasa, jump for Ankasa or he's going about his academic work on campus there, and we know Oko UPSA, teaching, Oko UCC, D school, Oko UDS, where the national president is residing, they are ongoing with their academic work and all that. So in essence, the entire indefinite strike has been made nonsense because people have disregarded their order and waiting for the formal calling of the strike as we have done by close of day yesterday at their meeting. And so they have no option. Community option they can hold on to this strike. Nobody is minding them.
Now,
say government on say, but government view, where students are also stranded and they need to come back to school to continue their academic work. You see, now year of strike. Why not that view?
Now, I don't know describe Professor Jampo as Ubua or in your words, pre.
No, or pre-dodo. Yeah, I mean, our question to him is he the national president of UTAG? He is not. He is just an ordinary member of UTAG as me and any other lecturer. And so, therefore, it was surprising that on the day of the negotiation with government, organized labor and government, he was the first to come out to have spoken to media and all that. And so, or pray to do.
But is he not a member of UTAG executives in Legon?
He is a member of a branch of UTAG, just as I am a member of a branch in UEW.
Okay.
And so, therefore, if I want to do anything, I will have to seek consent from my local executive before I can do anything. But as a local, a branch president, you do not owe responsibility to national deliberations and other things. And so, therefore, Jampo should be careful and take his time. There is due process and channel of communication in UTAG. It doesn't take him as an individual and an ordinary member of UTAG to come and declare strike. And so, therefore, we think that something was wrong. The strike was substandard. It wasn't thought through. And we believe that what they have done now is the proper thing to do. And we will all, say thank you to everybody who supported our cause.
All right. But significant is also the reasons UTAG Emma as a consideration for say almost a Salmadrin was striking we. These were the very reasons more the silent majority more reflected to them say ACC into more no nanka woman train and sign. How do you react hearing say it is the same very reasons one more age so and these same reasons are the same reasons is organized labor so at the train striking no sense.
The reason why we came out with the silent majority, movement is the fact that originally organized labor that request there was mounting pressure on government to place a ban on mining and prospecting in forest reserves, farms, and water bodies. It wasn't UTAG. Now, then, organized labor request and a more call negotiation. Then UTAG was part of organized labor. Negotiation meetings are and then you granted an interview to the media, say whether organized labor go for the strike or not. More UTAG will call. Meanwhile, the voting that we casted was originally meant for organized labor's request and not for UTAG. And when I catch David, there is something wrong. The proper thing for UTAG to have done was to come back to us, seeking a new mandate. On one yes, sir. And one thing a silent majority catch up will say, why are wrong? Is it proper to declare an indefinite strike on our own as UTAG as an organization and not part of organized labor? If that is so, let us vote. Yes, sir. If who say you're wrong in the first place for UTAG to have gone on that strike? So they say, because Obama will say government is not giving them a listening ear because they are dealing with organized labor and not UTAG as a branch of organized labor. And not that government now more that kind of opportunity. It is a kind of a fruitless venture on the part of UTAG to have held on to that kind of strike indefinitely because organized labor is no longer on strike. Why would you continue to be on strike? To the detriment of your students and academic work. If you look at all of these things, it falls back to our request that we need to go back to drawing board. So we welcome UTAG calling off the strike and coming back to the local branch that, yes, you either vote for or against against the decision that we should continue or not continue the strike. And therefore, we agree with them in that request.
I am also wondering what, as members of the silent majority, you may have to tell the national executive of UTAG, especially when most cite for breaching procedures mode etwa strike. So say mo can say omo pese anka womo to strike na organized labor actually they should have come back to you people and sought your mandate before they could continue on the strike. That did not happen. Now they are calling on you. Is the silent majority going to cite a neck for any breaches? What could be the consequence?
Yes, indeed. It was actually one of the considerations there. We gave ourselves, if you look at our earlier response to them when they had their meeting, we indicated that should they not call off the strike by Wednesday today, we would have taken the next step. And our next step would have been going to a labor commission and seeking redress at that level that UTAG acted in contravention of the constitution of UTAG, and therefore we need labor commission to call them to order. So if labor commission had, we were able to convince them to act in that capacity, we would have waited to see the decision at that level. Our next line of would have been to seek redress in the court if they hadn't called off the strike. If it now monitor activities and all of those things going forward, but to see our call it off strike, it satisfies our earlier demands that the strike was substandard, it lacks merit, and therefore does not actually confirm and conform to the welfare and standing orders of UTAG constitution, and therefore it was a useless adventure. And so we agree. Now that they have called off the strike and asking that they are suspending the strike action effective Tuesday 29th, and they are seeking members' affirmation or otherwise of the directive, we will go back to the drawing board and we will ask our members to vote in support of the call of the strike, so that we all come back to academic duties as expected of us as lecturers.
So these were clear matters per the constitution of UTAG, any arraignment we shouldn't have gotten to this stage in the first place. Exactly. Is it the considered view of the silent majority say this was politically motivated?
Let me be careful in making that affirmation, because we as an organization, and for that matter, I'm talking about UTAG as a whole, we are concerned about the progress and success of intellectual findings, so that whatever that we proffer, we give the echo field up of finding in terms of research, any as a knowledge to share with government or any component of government, we do it based on the ability and capacity of our thinking, and not to be affiliated to any political party. And so therefore, that is why we always try to shut anybody who wants to meddle in matters of politics. But Osha, Jampo, we know Jampo. There is a video in circulation in 2016, 2020, he dancing to Onapo, and clearly an indication that Jampo has always been a soft touch of what NDC.
He was probably enjoying the groove and rhythm.
No. You cannot tell me if you enjoy that Lumba song doesn't mean that you won't love that Lumba if he wants your support. Is that what you are telling me?
Oh, but let me give a typical example of Daddy Lumba's song for which he did for Nanado. Na 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 oye wina. You play that song at any function, at any event, and regardless of political affiliation, everybody jumps to it.
Yes, everybody jumps to it because the song was nice, and therefore it is a clear indication that the song that was released was not in vanity. It was meant to rally people behind Nanado as a presidential candidate. And so if Jampo, as a leader in UTAG, dances and jubilates with such a song, it means that he is telling people that this song is nice, and therefore whatever intent that the song has meant that he supports it and supports whosoever that the song was released in favor of. And so from that angle, Jampo is at NDC. And he supports NDC.
That may be overstretching your inference. I mean, if it's music, and music could hit anybody at any time. And I mean, even in 2017 or in the 2016 election when the NPP won, some NPP people even jubilated with the Onapo song. I mean, it's a banger, and
it matters most when you are a figure in public.
No, but he was in the comfort and privacy of his car. He was in the comfort and privacy of his car.
That it doesn't matter if it is a private kind of issue. Nobody will talk about it. But to post it on your wall is a show of support for the song and for who that song was released in favor of. That's the context. And so therefore, from day one, we know who he is and what he can do. And we know that he has always been this way towards the ADC. And so, therefore, from day one, when we say, fight against Galamsey, he has never spoken in a way that will bring some kind of neutrality to the ground that, yes, let's do it this today. If not, my brother, why would we all of a sudden get up to the show that Galamsey must be stopped today? But has been an issue.
But Mr. Dabo, come to think of it, the university environment is one such environment that should encourage people to pitch camps and freely express their leanings and affiliations. I mean, it's a university environment, and people are supposed to acquire knowledge in freedom and express themselves. What is wrong, even if Professor Jampo identifies as NDC?
There is nothing wrong with it, but the hypocrisy and sycophancy attached to it is problematic. Why? We have people in the universities who profess themselves as belonging to one ideology or the other. Nobody has a problem with them. You understand? But when you hypocritically, in the manner in which Jampo portrays himself, as though he doesn't support NDC, he is doing a neutral and for Ghana kind of issue, is where we have a problem.
Must he necessarily indicate that his views or his views go in support of the NDC before he can express that? Can't he express his views without indicating that this is in support of a party?
He can do that because we are in a democratic society. And therefore, as a political scientist, he knows better than I do, being I am a historian, he knows better than I do that as far as politics is concerned, you cannot play the ostrich and try to push the other to the wall. And in this particular matter of Galamsey fight, they have been able to push the government to the wall, which some of us will not agree. Because why would you sit down? All of a sudden, 2-3 months to election, you are asking government to put a ban on the livelihood of people without thinking through it. Well, we know all in this country, when the president moved and even placed his presidency on the line that he would do everything to fight Galamsey, where were they at the time and they didn't support him? Why would they come out this time around?
But what would you say to especially netizens, people on social media who reacted and said that the silent majority have pitched camp with the government and they are a pro-NPP group? What would be your reaction to netizens who have that perception as well?
It is an issue dead on arrival because people always want to weaken you in your move. And so they'll try to find ways and means to pinch you against the other so that you'll be ineffective. But unfortunately on their part, when they did it, they saw the backlash of it. And we have been strong and stronger since then up to now. And we'll still continue to put pressure on them to do the right thing. it doesn't really matter whether one belongs to the other. But if you belong, let people know that you belong. But this is the right thing you think should be done. But in the case of Jampo, and his hypocrisy, we will not allow him to use UTAG as a vehicle to gain his popularity. That we will not allow him to have.
But doesn't that principle work in your case? I mean, in your case, you can express your views and it's okay, but he expresses his and you characterize it as hypocrisy. I mean, how does that work when you have also expressed your views and people also feel that it is a pro-MPP government view? Isn't there hypocrisy there as well?
It is not. It is not, because when you look at it, we are on the basis of the fact that they did not follow due process before calling, on the strike.
On the strike, okay.
Because originally, as I explained to you, originally it was organized labor's request on government to place a ban. And they went into the negotiation. And because UTAG was part of that negotiation table, why would UTAG come out of that negotiation table and call the bluff of organized labor that they have been compromised when you think that you have not been compromised? Can you understand that? So we have been calling them to do the right thing. And so therefore, if now they have called off all of the strike and are asking local branches to do the needful, we applaud them for listening to us and for abiding by the standard rules of our operation. And so therefore, so be it. We look forward to the outcome of the elections on Tuesday, and we'll see how UTAG as a body will respond to it.
Very well. Wilson Dabo, I appreciate your time